What is up, ladies and gentlemen, and beautiful people of the Crasher community? How are you guys doing it today? We're back with a new video on the channel. Thank you very much for tuning on in, you absolute legends. And today, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be discussing Palworld. Now, Palworld has recently blown up upon release. It's been trending on Twitter over the last little while. And same with Pokemon too, because Palworld and Pokemon are very much comparable. But the question is, maybe a little bit too comparable? Well, let's go ahead and let's go further into this. So what we have here is an article on Dexerto that is titled, Palworld Designs Slammed for Being Too Similar to Pokemon by Fans. The Pal designs in Palworld are being slammed by Pokemon players on social media who argue they're too similar to iconic Pokemon. It didn't take long for the Pokemon and Palworld fan bases to draw up battle lines and start arguing. Palworld fans are praising the game's fresh take on the monster catching and survival genres, while Pokemon fans are complaining about its lack of originality. This isn't to say that all Pokemon fans dislike Palworld, as many players enjoy both titles. It's just that the similarities between both franchises have created animosity and tribalistic behavior, especially with Palworld's incredible success at launch. The biggest sticking point with Palworld is whether it plagiarized Pokemon designs, possibly using AI. This has led to Pokemon fans assembling comparisons between the Pals and the Pokemon to see if they're truly as alike as people say. A Twitter/X user named Cecilia Faye has created a thread outlining some of the similarities between Pals and Pokemon, some of which are extremely close. These include Pals that look similar to Lucario, Shaman, Giratina, and Electabuzz. And this here, ladies and gentlemen, is the thread in question. Now, I'm not going to be going through the entirety of this beat by beat, but I'm going to scroll down, and I want you guys to see where this person is coming from. I mean, we have ourselves what appears to be a grass-type Cinderace, and to the right, well, we have the OG Cinderace, so you can kind of sort of see where this is going to be going here. Another example would be the Galarian Meowth on the right, and on the left, we have ourselves this creature that has similar design elements to Galarian Meowth. Carrying on, we have ourselves Serperior to the right, and to the left, we have ourselves something that looks kind of like a water-type version of Serperior. Now, I just want to say right now that there is a difference between being inspired by designs and straight-up plagiarizing designs. Now, am I saying that this is straight-up plagiarism? Absolutely not. However, I can definitely understand at the same time why people say and think that this is plagiarism, because we have ourselves a lot more designs than just the ones that I've shown that appear to be a little bit too similar to each other. A few of the more obnoxious ones include Lycanroc and Gigantamax Eevee, which are almost reskins with a few small tweaks. This is due to the puff or fur around Gigantamax Eevee's neck and the overall size and shape of Lycanroc. And this here is the image in question with the Pal and the Gigantamax Eevee comparison. And again, I can see where fans are coming from here. And this here is the example when it comes to the mentioning of Lycanroc. Now, I can also see where people are coming from here, too, when it comes to the two of them being very similar to each other. There are some Pals with designs that evoke well-known legendary Pokemon, including Xerneas and Cobalion. We have two crystalline stags and two regal cloudy blue goats, spread across two different franchises. And this right here is the visual representation of the Xerneas example, and again, I can definitely see some similarities here. And this here is the Cobalion example, and yes, this looks almost a little bit too similar to each other. The current question that fans are asking is whether the Palworld devs actually plagiarized Pokemon, and whether the Pokemon Company has any grounds for a lawsuit. After all, Palworld is still in early access, so there's time to change designs before it officially launches. These are just so blatantly theft. I feel disgusted that people are just playing this uncritically because, oh, funny game, one user wrote, while another said, most of them look like fan-made Pokemon fusions. Seeing this makes me so glad I'm not going insane, another user wrote. Just some of the pals made me go, why do they look so familiar? Because they were. The incredible popularity of Palworld hasn't been diminished by the controversy, with many people clearly willing to overlook the similarities as it's just so much fun. It helps that the Pokemon Company has alienated many fans due to the shoddiness of Gen 9, making people hungry for alternatives. Whether the PAL similarities in Palworld are enough to prompt legal action remains to be seen. The Pokemon Company certainly could choose to take the Palworld developers to court, with the potential to destroy the game in the future should the legal system favor Pikachu's lawyers. Okay, so now that we got through the article here and we have a lot of the context on the table here, I'm just going to be straight up honest when I say that I am on the fence with this one. I can see where both sides are coming from here. I can understand why Palworld is getting massive praise, and alternatively, I can also understand why Palworld is getting massive criticism. On the praising side, a very big example of why the game is being praised is because it provides a fresh, new experience that the current Pokemon games only wishes it could provide. And this is coming from a Pokemon fan that just wants the best for Pokemon and for Pokemon fans to be happy. But it's really interesting that it took an indie developer to create a game that pretty much set the community aflame in a way. I also want to highlight this tweet because it is rather important in terms of the context here. We have Shady Penguin tweeting out, Palworld should teach Pokemon players that are enjoying it that they actually do like other genres of games. Palworld is honestly only 15% Pokemon in terms of gameplay. The rest is Arc, Breath of the Wild / Genshin, and Factoria, and it comes together to make one of the funnest games ever. Now, the reason for highlighting that tweet is to put a little bit more perspective behind what Palworld really is. It's more than just a game with Pokemon-like creatures. There are survival elements to it, there's adventure elements to it, things like that. So it's kind of like a hybrid game in a way. You like survival games? You might like Palworld. You like Pokemon? You may like Palworld. You like adventure? You may like Palworld, so on and so forth. Now, on the alternate side, when it comes to the criticisms that Palworld garnered, one of the biggest pillars when it comes to the criticisms revolves around plagiarism, and I can definitely understand where people are coming from when it comes to that. I mean, there are some really, really big comparisons here, such as the PAL that looks like Cobalion, and Cobalion itself, the PAL that looks like Xerneas, and then you got Xerneas itself, you got the PAL that's very similar to Gigantamax Eevee, and you got Gigantamax Eevee itself. The list goes on, so on and so forth. So is this blatant plagiarism? Well, that right there, unfortunately, is left to the court of public opinion, because should this be taken to the court of law, then and only then would it be 100% determined if whether or not Palworld is blatant plagiarism or not. Now, something I want to kind of add here would be inspiration, because there's a difference between straight up plagiarizing already established media and being inspired by already established media. For plagiarism, we know what plagiarism is. I don't think I need to describe what it is. It is blatant copying. I mean, there's no other way to describe it. But when it comes to inspiration, sure, you look at an idea, you are inspired by it, and maybe you take little bits and pieces here and there, but that right there is like enough to make it transformative. It's enough to make it different without it being a direct carbon copy. So could it be plagiarism? Maybe. Could it be inspiration? Maybe. If it's inspiration, they probably dipped in the pot a little bit too much when it comes to that, because there are definitely some major comparisons between some of the pals and some of the already established Pokemon. So another pillar when it comes to the criticisms levied at Palworld would be the allegations of the usage of AI-generated art. However, this Twitter user, Metal Greymon, really cool Digimon by the way, highlights something that is rather interesting. Don't believe the lies that Palworld is using AI-generated art. Liars are claiming that Palworld used AI art based on a post made by their CEO. The problem is he was talking about BuzzFeed using AI to create Fakemon, not Pocket Pair's staff. So another thing that I'd like to address right here that's been floated around on the internet over the last day or so would be this right here, where we have ourselves the comparison of creatures from Dragon Quest to creatures from Pokemon. Now, for my interpretation, the reason why this is even a thing in the first place is to, I guess, show that there's double standards here, such as people going after Palworld for allegedly ripping off Pokemon, but no one's going after Pokemon for allegedly ripping off Dragon Quest. Now, I'm just going to shoot straight with you by saying that, in my opinion, this right here is incorrect, and I'll explain why. So first off, when you guys take a look at this image right here, do you guys notice anything interesting? Well, I certainly do. The first thing, that being the difference in art style. We have Dragon Quest with their art style and designs, and we have Pokemon with their art style and designs. And these designs here are not based on each other. We don't have Pokemon basing their designs off of Dragon Quest. These designs here in general are based on actual species of creatures, like bats, like dragons, birds, etc. And last I checked, nobody owns the copyright to those general creatures. Now, do I think that Palworld deserves to be completely shut down? No. It is a success for a reason. There's not only heavy criticisms, but also very heavy praises as well. So it does remain to be seen if whether or not any action will be taken, or if there's going to be any development in the future when it comes to, I guess, this controversy here. But understand that I can see both sides of the situation. I can understand where people are coming from, hence why I'm kind of on the fence with this one. So this video is more or less to get your guys' opinions about this while I'm laying out the context and explaining things the best that I can. And this video also served to address any nuance that was either way too much of a reach / unrealistic, or just straight up incorrect. But with that being said, though, ladies and gentlemen, what are your guys' thoughts and opinions about the subject here? Do you agree with my takes? Do you disagree with my takes? Do you agree with the criticisms? Do you disagree with the criticisms? Either way, I'd love to hear back from you amazing legends in the comments down below. And that's it for the video, ladies and gentlemen, so thank you guys for watching. Thanks for your time as well in viewing this video. Have yourself a damn good one, you beautiful people. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and I'll see you guys next time.